Sutton Hoo is a Royal Anglo-Saxon burial ground. It's a really special place. There are only 3 Anglo-Saxon ship burials that we know of in England, and 2 were found here at Sutton Hoo. In 1939, the excavations took place, and this was on the brink of the Second World War. So this happened in a really concentrated period, lots of excitement, and this was probably one of the kind of greatest archaeological discoveries that changed history. This is thought to be a royal burial, possibly the burial of a king, and the objects really reflect the wealth of that person. We know he was a warrior, he was well travelled, well connected, and each object placed in the grave tells a story.
So for the British Museum, the Sutton Hoo ship burial is one of our most iconic collections. It's something that people travel from all over the world to come and see, but it's also the centrepiece of one of our galleries at the museum. It literally sits in the middle of the room. It's a fantastic display. You come into the room and you meet the Sutton Hoo helmet, so you meet face to face with this fantastic relic of the past and this face of the early Middle Ages.
Every object in the grave tells a story, but something which links them all together is the amazing craftsmanship. So modern craftspeople struggle to make replicas of the objects, bearing in mind that it was 1,400 years ago, and the changes in technology, it really does tell you a lot about the skill of the Anglo-Saxon craftsman. One of the objects that's going on display, a new replica in our new exhibition hall, is a sword belt fitting. So this is quite a tiny object that would have been attached to the belt, and it's got lots of little garnets cut into it in this cloisonné work, and the scale of those, going from a tiny garnet right up to the huge ship, it really is kind of 2 sides of the scale. Mrs. Edith Pretty was the person who instigated the dig here in 1939. She approached a local historian who put her in touch with Ipswich Museum, and they sent along Basil Brown. So he first came here in 1938 and they excavated 3 of the mounds, and then he returned for the summer of 1939 and made the big discovery.
We're really thankful to Mrs. Edith Pretty because it was her that made the decision to donate the finds to the British Museum. And it was actually described as the single most generous donation made by a donor to the British Museum in that person's lifetime. That has then obviously gone on to become one of our most cherished collections.
So 80 years ago, Britain was preparing for war, and in this kind of modest corner of Suffolk, one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time happened. What's followed since that has been 80 years of research and lots of interest and intrigue about Sutton Hoo. It's a really special year for us as well on site, because we're reopening after a £4 million transformational project that will change every part of the visitor experience. It's just really a nice time to reflect on what's happened during those 80 years, who's been involved, and the story is ongoing. 1939 was just the beginning.